Choje Lama tonight. The topic is Essential Mind Training. The teaching will be in English and translated to Cantonese by Neil. 歡迎咁多位線上線下嘅星幣咁嚟我哋參加我哋創科中心舉辦嘅修心有法子佛學講座。咁今日主講嘅咧係我哋尊貴嘅法尊上師。咁今日嘅講座全程會係英文講座啊，咁會全程由謝兆霖居士咧翻譯成廣東話嘅。咁我簡單介紹法尊上師。咁先知道咧，大寶法門係以妙觀察賜予創古子戒律清淨修正圓滿嘅喇嘛旺谷圖登法尊上師嘅名號嘅。咁法尊上師咧將嚟而家嚟到香港啦，係舉辦會餘下嘅活動嘅。咁除咗今晚嘅佛學講座之外咧，喺13號喺對面嘅創古文化咧，亦都有一個佛學嘅講座嘅。咁喺10號到12號咧，就會係一個閉關嘅活動係。藥師佛嘅閉關活動。咁由於時間關係咧，我哋嘅佛學講座即刻開始啦。
好，剛讀一下。第一。頓覺長覺地羅大來，那拉涅拉徹界巴羅德藏天家切切專業就把切那達切那扎托阿殿周巴沙那查迦切
确经上巴南切作因万故谢所外耶瓦众生大给切萨巴唐切大给传说仙摩罗萨西不知确经没多让未来灵智念的正巴的三业心内没得破坏因诸问南大心爱觉外人间南耶桑巴耶切达切塔瓦切在他蒙天巴伊切耶陀罗多所说。
Tashidilig everyone。
咁同大家講吉祥語。
And today we will be talking on mind training, or in Tibetan we say lojong。
咁今日要講嘅題目咧就係呢個修心，咁藏文咧叫lojong。
In the beginning, I would like to thank all of you for coming here and wanting to hear what I have to say on mind training。
咁首先就感謝各位嚟參與啦，因為大家都有個心咧係會嚟想聽一聽喇嘛今日會講啲乜嘢。
And generally, especially here in the East, most of the people like request empowerment whenever we have some programs, and whenever we have empowerment and whenever we do that, we have quite a lot of people attending. And when we have like some talks, then we are not that interested in listening to the talks.
咁一般嚟講啦，我哋就會有譬如灌頂啦，咁大家聽到有灌頂咧，其實就會好多人咧就會嚟參加嘅，咁蜂擁而至啦，可以話係。但係一聽到譬如有啲開示啦、講座嘅時候咧，就唔會有好多人會上嚟聽呢啲開示嘅。
And what happens is people do request or ask me also to give empowerment. But I think it is very important to have some understanding, at least some basic information or basic knowledge about Buddhism, because sometimes we meet people who have been a practitioner, as we say, who have been visiting centers or monasteries or temple for so many years, and then they don't know even some basic information about Buddhism. So when we don't have the information, then it is very difficult to practice without any information.
咁但係咧就係話好多人咧其實可能就係會係嚟到sorry， 首先就係有啲人會去請喇嘛，可能會亦都會給予灌頂啦。咁但係首先咧佢就會覺得咧我哋其實好多人其實需要咧係要了解其實佛法喺譬如我哋接受灌頂之前都應該首先要了解其實佛法最基本嘅教義係乜嘢啦，或者係關於譬如話甚至灌頂啊所有啲教法嘅要了解多啲知識係先至係應該嘅。咁譬如佢喇嘛舉例就係話啦，譬如有啲人啦可能咧好多年啊喺寺院度或者啲中心嗰度啦修持啊或者嗰啲地方留咗好耐啦，但係咧可能當佢去要講一啲關於或者係佢對一啲最基本嘅一啲佛教知識咧，可能其實佢都係唔了解嘅。咁所以佢覺得咧好重要咧，我哋首先要了解一啲佛法嘅最基本嘅知識。
And since all of you have come to the center, I can be sure that you are here in the center to improve yourself, and for that we are trying to learn the Dharma, and we are trying to learn the Dharma because we want to improve ourselves.
咁大家其實既然都嚟到呢個中心啦，喇嘛就覺得你肯定咧想嚟到呢度嘅目的咧係想改進自己，令自己有進步㗎。咁亦都係想嘗試去學習佛法㗎。咁因為點解你會想學習佛法咧？因為其實你都係想去令自己有進步。
And when we are trying to improve ourselves, so we say that because of our practice, then we can improve ourselves. But to practice first, we need to understand what the Dharma is.
咁所以當我哋話要去改進自己嘅時候咧，其實你可能會覺得，當然啦，我哋要透過修持去改進自己，令自己有改變啦。但係首先你要修持之前，你要明白呢個佛法嘅道理，先至可以修持嘅。
And obviously, when we receive empowerment or when we attend puja, that does help us, but it only helps us when we are able to understand what is said during the puja or what we are receiving when we are receiving the empowerment. Just going somewhere and just because someone places a pumbaa on your head doesn't mean that we become enlightened. We need to know the meaning or the true meaning of why these are all done, why are the things that are done during the puja. If we are able to understand that, then all these pujas and empowerment will definitely help us.
咁所以就係話咧，譬如話當然啦，如果你去譬如啲法會啊，咁其實點解會能夠俾你有幫助咧？其實就係因為你能夠明白，譬如法會裏邊念誦嗰啲內容係咩意思，有咩含義，咁樣咧先至係能夠幫到你去改進嘅。否則的話，就算你去接受灌頂多樣啊，你都要知道本身個意義嘅。否則的話，你只係某個地方之後，接受人哋將個寶瓶擺落你個頭度咧，咁你但係唔知係咩意思嘅話咧，其實咁係對你冇幫助嘅。咁所以最重要就係我哋首先要明白到，其實就係本身呢啲所有嘅呢個含義係乜嘢，背後個同佛法嘅嗰個關係。咁如果我哋明白呢啲方法，明白呢啲背後嘅意思之後咧，咁你去嗰啲法會等等先對你有幫助嘅。
It is just like, for example, if we visit a restaurant for many times, we will not know how to cook the food. Maybe we will know some food this tastes good or this doesn't taste good. But just going to restaurant so many times or every day, no matter how many times you go to the restaurant, you will not able to learn or you will not be able to prepare the food. But for that, what we need to do is we need to go to a cooking class, or maybe we need to learn how to cook through different means. So if we are able to do that, then we will be able to cook. But just going to a restaurant will not make us a good chef. So for that, we need to take class. And just like that, going to different pujas, different empowerment might not be so much of benefit if we haven't taken any classes and if we don't have any idea about the Dharma that we are learning.
咁所以舉個例子咧，就係假設一個人咧成日去餐廳食嘢嘅，食咗好多嘢啦，成日去啦，咁但係佢可能咧就會明白到邊啲嘢好食嘅，邊啲係唔好食嘅，佢知道識分別，但係咧佢唔會話因為佢成日去餐廳食嘢，令到佢會識去煮飯㗎。咁無論你去餐廳去咗幾多次都好啊，呢個經驗唔會能夠幫到佢去識到點樣去煮一餐好菜，佢最後都要去學點樣煮飯，先至可以去明白到點樣係學到唔同嘅方法啦，咁之後先可以煮一餐好嘅飯㗎。同樣啊，就算你去好多嘅灌頂，好多嘅法會都好啊，咁你對你嚟講咧，其實係冇乜好大利益嘅，淨係做呢樣嘢，因為你其實冇，如果假設你淨係做呢啲嘢，你係冇去學習佛法，冇去聽聞呢個開示嘅話咧，其實對你嚟講係唔會好大利益嘅。
And even though I will be only speaking for like an hour on mind training, it might not be appropriate or it might not be complete on the text, but still I hope even within this 1 hour, maybe we get to learn something on mind training.
咁可能咧喺即係1個鐘頭左右嘅呢個修心嘅開示啦，可能就係冇辦法完整或者講唔晒成個教本啦。但係希望咧就係喺呢個1個鐘嘅教法咧，都能夠令你對呢個修心嘅教法咧係有一啲嘅了解。
And before starting on mind training, I think it is also very important to let you know where I received this teaching also. And for someone like me, I received this teaching from our very venerable Khenchen Thrangu HK, so I've received from him quite a few times.
咁首先喺開始之前咧，喇嘛都覺得係好重要，就係佢從邊度得到呢個教法，要同大家交代嘅。咁喇嘛就係從我哋尊貴嘅堪千創古仁波切嗰度接受呢個教法啦，係接受過幾次嘅。
And some of you might have been able to receive teaching from him, but some of you who are like new to the center, then or you have only known him when he was like in his late 80s or early 90s, then maybe you are not able to receive much teaching from him. But if you like know about Rinpoche, then he has been traveling a lot in his lifetime. And when we were monk in the monastery in Nepal and India, we don't get to receive so many teachings. He was always traveling to Hong Kong, Taiwan, Malaysia, Canada, and all these places. And he was giving so many teachings and empowerments to his students.
咁在座可能有啲人咧，就係亦都曾經接受創古仁波切 Teaching 嘅教法啦，但係都可能係啲人新嚟中心嘅，可能當時創古仁波切已經可能係80幾甚至係90歲嘅時候啦，咁可能咧佢哋就冇機會曾經喺創古仁波切座前接受過教法嘅。咁但係喇嘛都想俾大家知道啦，其實咧喺佢哋身為出家人嚟講啦，其實咧因為咧創古仁波切當時後生啲嘅時候咧，係成日去到全世界各地咧。係去唔同地方度去講經、給予灌頂等等嘅。咁首先，就算對佢哋嚟講咧，佢哋個寺院喺尼泊爾啦，佢哋都唔係成日咧有機會可以親身喺仁波切座前咧接受教法，因為仁波切成日都會出咗去，譬如香港啊、台灣啊、馬來西亞、加拿大等地咧係傳授灌頂教法等等。
And even like we were the monks from monastery, since we didn't get so many teaching from Rinpoche because he was traveling a lot, then in the year 2000, I guess, all the senior monks and nuns from our monastery requested Rinpoche so that he is able to give teaching even to the monks and nuns. So even we get some teaching from Rinpoche directly. And in the year 2000, most likely, and especially because of the request by most likely our center here in Hong Kong, Thrangu Hong Kong Center, and because of the Dharmakara, two of them, they requested especially Rinpoche to teach the monks and nuns in Nepal and India belonging to Thrangu Monastery. And the first year when he gave the teaching on mind training. So this book that I will be going through.
咁所以當時咧就係因為喺2000年咧，應該係2000年嘅時候咧，就係因為特別係應該係香港創古中心啦，同埋可能係即係創古文化，咁佢哋其實係特別係祈請仁波切咧，創古仁波切咧就係去特別係要給予喺印度同尼泊爾嘅出家人，即係創古寺嘅出家人啦，係給予一個教法開示㗎。咁所以當時咧就係其實就係可以話係。所有呢啲印度尼泊爾嘅真眾咧，就終於可以即係可以喺仁波切座前咧接受教法啦。 咁當時寧波車所教嘅呢個教法咧，即係第一個教法咧，就係教呢個修心嘅呢個教法，就係所以喇嘛就係而家將會講嘅呢個教法啦。
And during that time, Rinpoche was able to give like 2 sessions of teaching every day for 10 days. And that time, this same topic was taught for 10 days with 2 hours each session. So one day we had like 2 sessions, so that is like 4 hours every day for 10 days. And in total, that is like 40 hours of teaching. But now the same teaching, when we are trying to do it in 1 hour, it is impossible, but we will try to make it as maybe relatable as possible.
咁所以當時寧波車教嘅時候咧，係10日嘅時間去教呢個其實修心7要嘅教法啦。咁當時每日係教2座啦，叫做可以話係。咁每座咧就係2個鐘，咁即係一日咧其實係教4個鐘，咁總共就係10日就總共教咗40個鐘啦。咁但係而家喇嘛就係話佢而家只係可以用1個鐘嘅時間啦，咁就其實就係冇可能係將所有教法都教到，但係就係希望盡量就係將入邊嘅一啲重要內容啦，就係向大家去開示啦。
And in the year 2000, I was studying in Shetra or Buddhist college, and all the monks from Shetra, all the monks from different monasteries of Thrangu Rinpoche. So we all received the teaching on Lojong, and after my Shetra, then I was traveling as Rinpoche's attendant, and even during that time, I was able to receive the same teaching in so many different countries. And because of that, I think I have some blessing from Rinpoche since I was able to receive so many times the same teaching from him.
咁當時喇嘛亦都係喺2000年嘅時候啦，同所有啲僧眾一齊接受過呢個教法啦。除此之外咧，當時佢係喺佛學院嗰度讀緊書㗎。咁後來佢佛學院畢業之後咧，咁佢做咗寧波車嘅使者啦。咁當時咧就同寧波車去唔同嘅國家嘅時候咧，亦都喺寧波車係喺唔同國家都有教呢個修心7要嘅。咁佢當時咧亦都係接受過好多次呢個修心7要嘅呢個教法。咁所以可以話啦，佢亦都所以因此可以覺得咧，佢係可以係因此得到咗呢個寧波車咁多次嘅呢個教法嘅一個加持啦。咁所以佢亦都可以喺度同大家分享。
And not only from Thrangu Rinpoche, but also I was in retreat. And when I was in 4 years retreat, we have our retreat master. And from him, I was able to receive the same teaching 2 times from him. And this text is actually not for only to understand, because sometimes when we read books, we think it is only for us to keep in our memory. We recite what are the subjects, what is the meaning, but we don't put it into practice. But actually this is only for practice. So just because you can remember some words or some lines from the book will not help you. Only if you are able to practice what is taught in the book, then it is going to be of great help. So I was able to receive the teaching, and we were also able to do the practice of mind training in the retreat center for 1 month. So that was also very helpful.
咁除咗從創舉仁波切之外咧，咁當喇嘛去做呢一個4年嘅閉關嘅時候咧，佢亦都有從呢個閉關上師嗰度咧接受咗2次呢個教法嘅。咁呢個修心嘅教法咧係唔單止係要好似話我哋睇咗書啦、明白咗啦，或者可能你記咗啲偈頌，知道咗個題目，記得個內容嗰啲咩字眼，咁樣係唔夠嘅，亦都係呢個教法唔係嘅目的係咁。呢個教法目的全部係要你去付諸實修嘅，係真正係要去實踐去實修嘅。咁所以咧，單你記得佢入邊嘅偈頌等等嗰樣嘢咧係冇用嘅，可以話呢個教法對你。佢最重要係將佢嘅教法係付諸實修，先至對你有好大嘅幫助嘅。咁當時咧，佢哋接受呢個教法之後咧，佢哋都係花咗1個月嘅時間咧去實修呢個教法。
And my retreat master, I think he is going to be here in the next 2 or 3 months. I think he is going to be here in Hong Kong, and he will do a retreat. So whoever is free during that time, I would like to request all of you to attend, because he is a very great master, and not someone like me who is only the outer appearance is a monk, but someone like him, his outer appearance, inner appearance, every appearance is a very great master. So if you are able to join the retreat when he is here, then I think that will be very beneficial for all of you.
咁剛才話嗰個閉關上師咧，其實應該可能過幾個月咧，佢都會嚟香港，可能都會有個閉關嘅。咁喇嘛就好強烈建議大家即係要把握機會去參與啦，因為咧喇嘛就係話自己佢淨係得個外相上，好似一個修行人咁嘅啫。咁但係咧呢個閉關上師咧，其實佢係外內所有嘢咧都真係一個修行人㗎。咁所以咧，如果大家有機會咧，就一定唔好錯過佢嗰個閉關啦。
And then now talking about the subject, Lojong mind training, and this was specially composed by Palten Atisha, Choje Atisha, and he had like 3 main teachers for this, but his main teacher was Selingpa, who was from Sri Lanka. And again, I was very fortunate to be able to visit the place where Atisha received this teaching from Selingpa and with Venerable Thrangu Rinpoche. And there were like quite a lot of his students, monks, nuns, and I think even students from here in Hong Kong. We all went to Sri Lanka to pay respect to the place where Atisha received this teaching. So even from that, I think I was very blessed to be able to very special place, and not only special place, but also with the most important person in my life.
咁呢個教法咧，其實就係修心七要呢個教法，就由阿底峽尊者Choje呢位大師咧係去傳授出嚟㗎。咁其實佢阿底峽尊者咧就有3位上師，但係最重要嗰位上師咧就係金州大師。咁金州大師咧，其實當時咧就係去咗呢一個斯里蘭卡啦，包括嘅地方，咁佢就係咧係去求呢個去向呢個上師去求呢個法㗎。咁所以咧，當時創居仁波切咧，亦都係曾經去過呢個地方朝聖啦。當時喇嘛亦都跟仁波切一齊去到當時阿底峽尊者去受呢個金州大師嘅教法嘅地方去朝聖啦。咁當時亦都有好多唔同國家嘅，包括可能有啲香港啲師兄都去到，咁佢哋都係非常歡喜，係能夠見到阿底峽尊者當時係去接受呢個教法嘅地方去做呢個朝聖。
And now this Atisha was already a very highly educated monk, but still he went to Sri Lanka to receive this teaching. And even after receiving this teaching, he was told to practice this teaching for like 12 years. And he especially practiced this teaching for 12 years. And even for someone like him, who was made to practice like 12 years, and especially us, we are definitely not at the same level of Atisha, and sometimes we practice for like few weeks, few months, or maybe 1 year, 2 years, and think that we have already done the practice. And actually it is not like that. We should be able to practice as long as we can. When someone like Atisha has to practice 12 years, if we are like same as him, then maybe we should also practice like him for 12 years. If we are not like him, then definitely we have to practice more than him, which is at least 12 years.
咁阿底峽尊者當時其實已經一個大師嚟㗎啦，係已經係真係好有學問㗎啦。但係佢都去到揾呢個金州大師去求法。當時去求法嘅時候咧，其實佢係跟從即係總共亦都係以呢個教法咧係要修持咗12年嘅時間，咁去修持呢一個修心嘅教法㗎。咁所以就算好似阿底峽尊者咁嘅大師，佢都要花12年去修持呢個教法。我哋自己咧肯定就係冇可能好似阿底峽大尊者咁嘅根氣或者咁嘅程度啦。咁其實對我哋嚟講咧，我哋肯定係要花更多嘅時間。但係好多時候可能我哋覺得自己收咗一啲法幾個月啊或者1年啊等等，就覺得好似已經修完啦。咁其實係咁樣係遠遠係唔夠嘅。除非你可能我哋其實應該要去盡自己嘅能力，係盡自己嘅努力去修先啱嘅。咁因為你睇翻啦，阿底峽尊者修呢個法都要12年啦。除非我哋同阿底峽尊者係同等嘅一個程度，我哋都可能都要去花12年去修。如果我哋唔係阿底峽尊者嘅程度嘅話，我哋肯定係最少要花12年或者係更多嘅時間去修持。
And after the teaching, or like not only after the teaching, but almost every time, I think if you meet your teacher, when you talk with your teacher, if you say that or your teachings, your practice are going very well, you are becoming very good. Maybe when you say that, some teacher might be happy, but I think a teacher will be much happier when you are able to know that you have not been practicing, when you know it for yourself, when you are very sure that, oh, I haven't been a good person, or I haven't been practicing well, there is so much for me to improve. When you have that kind of belief from deep within, and if you say like that to your teacher, then I think a genuine teacher will be more happy, because first we need to find fault in ourselves. When we are like feeling very happy that, oh, I'm a much better person, I've been practicing very well, then normally we feel very content and we don't want to improve. But when we see fault in ourselves, when we say that, oh, I don't think I've been practicing well, even though you are practicing well, but if you think you are not practicing well, or you haven't been understanding well, then I think that is like a very good sign of the practices going well.
咁所以啦，就係當我哋咧修行嘅時候啦，我哋就會可能就會你每一次都會睇睇自己，可能你會覺得可能咧你會覺得我自己而家係修得比較好啦，或者可能當你見到一個你向你個上司報告嘅時候，或者你嘅導師報告嘅時候，你就話可能你會覺得我而家修呢個情況咧就修得比較好啊，一切嘢都好順利啊。咁可能咧有一啲老師聽到你咁講咧，佢哋可能會開心，但係有可能其實咧有啲就會覺得咧，有啲老師會寧願你聽到你講就係話當我修嘅時候，我就會遇到啲咩問題，我發覺我有邊啲嘢唔好，有啲咩做得唔好，或者仍然覺得自己咧喺修行上咧係仲有好多要去改善嘅空間嘅。咁當然你咁講咧，係從心底裏邊你發現真係有咁樣係衷心咁去明白到自己有呢個不足之處，咁去改善嘅空間。咁因為點解咁講咧？就係話因為其實你係咁樣睇，你揾到你自己嘅一啲錯處啦。而唔係話淨係會睇到我收得好好啊，咁之後開始覺得滿意啦，甚至覺得自己冇嘢需要改變啦。重要嘅反而就係話你係會自己睇到自己嘅錯處啦，覺得自己係對有啲乜嘢唔好嘅地方仲要去進步啦。其實如果你係喺一個咁嘅情況，而你係真正係一個真心去修行嘅人，你有呢個咁嘅睇到自己嘅錯誤或者係改善空間嘅話咧，反而呢一個係一個修行嘅一個好嘅一個徵兆，即係表示你係有一個進步，或者係你認係啱嘅一個方向嘅一個徵兆。
And now when we are talking about Lojong, so here we have like 7 main points. And the first one is the point of Wondro. And obviously when we are talking about Wondro, there are many different levels of Wondro, but since we don't have so much time, I think all these points we should try to make it as concise as possible. So the Wondro here, I think the main important part of Wondro is the devotion. So before we start practicing, having a good devotion or pure devotion is a must. And even when we recite the Dorje Chang prayer or Vajradhara prayer, Mogu Gomgi Kor Sumbashin. So here devotion is like the head of practice. And when we talk about our head, so in our body, when we compare our head and our body, then the head is very small, our body is very big. But actually, even though it is very small, that is like the most important part of our body. If we don't have head, then we will not be able to see anything because our eyes are there. We will not be able to smell anything. We will not be able to listen to anything. And we will not be able to think because our brain is there. So our head is very most likely the most important part of our body. Just like that, devotion is like the head of any of our practice. If we don't have devotion, then no matter which practice that we do, it is not going to benefit us much. So in the beginning, the first stage, it is very important that we have a pure devotion, not only for Lojong, but for any other practice. No matter which practice you do, even if you do Genesis practice or even if you Brintara practice, the main important is devotion. So that is like the Wondro for Lojong practice.
咁修心7要，咁有7個要點嘅。咁第一個要點咧就係前行啦。 咁喺前行裏邊咧，當然有好多唔同層次嘅呢個嘅前行啦。但係因為今次其實時間亦都唔多啦，咁只係將個精要去講解，就係最重要嘅呢個前行咧，就係呢個虔敬心啦。咁呢個虔敬心咧，就係要係非常之清淨嘅，同埋非常之善妙嘅呢個虔敬心啦。咁呢個虔敬心裏邊，其實喺我哋啱啱念過金剛總持嘅祈請文裏邊咧，咁都有一句就係呢個虔敬即是修行手啦，手即係個頭啦。咁其實咧，如果我哋講啦，頭同埋身，咁個頭係好細嘅，個身體係大嘅。咁但係你話重要性嚟講咧，頭係最重要，因為如果你冇咗個頭嘅話咧，你冇辦法睇到嘢啦，冇辦法聞到味，亦都冇辦法去聽到嘢啦，甚至亦都冇辦法去思維，因為個腦喺個頭嗰度噶嘛。咁所以你可以見咧，就係話最重要就係呢一個頭，亦都係講可以話虔敬心係最重要嘅。咁點解咧？因為其實就係話咧，如果你係冇呢個虔敬心嘅話咧，咁其實你就算修咩法都好啊，其實佢唔會俾到好大嘅利益俾你㗎。咁所以咧，無論你係修咩修持，唔係淨係修心啊，其實任何嘅修持都好，首先你要生起一個清淨嘅虔敬心，無論你係修觀音又好，道母法都好啊。最重要就係你一開始一個真實清淨嘅虔敬心作為呢個前行。
And then the second point is the main practice. And even in main practice, we have like two different parts. So the first one is the absolute bodhicitta, and then second one is like the relative bodhicitta. And for first one, so obviously there are lots of many definitions, but for now I think it is very important that we only talk about the shamatha practice that we do, because obviously the relative bodhicitta is very important, but first we need to have a stable mind. And for that, there are different ways to make our mind stable. And the easiest way is through the practice of breath. So when we are breathing, obviously there is the breathing in, and then there is the breathing in. After breathing in, it just stays in your body, and then you breathe out. So there's in, stay, and then out. So that we count like one time. So we do that for like 7 times. And then little rest, and then again we do it for like 7 times, and then again little rest, like that. And when we do that, after we get little perfection on 7, then maybe we can increase to like 10, 15, 20, 25, whatever we are. And then because of that help, whenever we are doing any kind of practice, we are able to keep our mind very aware and stable. Because now when our mind is not aware and not stable, so even though we seem that we are practicing, but our mind is always wandering about, and we are not so sure what we are practicing. So in the beginning, it is really able to have a stable and aware mind. So that is why we do the breathing exercise.
咁之後第二點咧就係呢一個正行嘅修持啦。咁正行修持有兩部分，一個就係呢個聖義或者係究竟嘅菩提心啦，另一個咧之後咧就係呢一個世俗菩提心。咁當然呢兩種菩提心嘅定義有好多啦，但係亦都係我哋今次係主要係講個重點。咁首先講個重點，首先咧喺聖義菩提心嚟講咧，其實主要就係我哋會有講一樣嘢，就係要去修呢個直止嘅呢個禪定啦。咁當然啦，世俗菩提心都好重要，不過就再講。咁但係重點咧，修持呢個直止嘅呢個禪修咧，亦都有好多唔同方法。咁但係喇嘛就會揀咗用一個方法啦，就係呢個觀呼吸嘅方法啦，就係觀察或者係專注自己嘅一呼一吸，即係出入息啦。咁一呼一吸，我哋就會係數1次啦。咁之後咧數7次，咁以數7次為一組啦。咁之後咧你就可以休息一下，之後再數7次。咁當你比較數得穩定之後啦，比較穩定之後咧，你可以將呢個數息嘅次數咧增加到10次、15次、25次等等啦。咁呢個咧係會幫助你咧個心係變得穩定噶，同埋變得係可以係保持住呢個覺知。咁其實呢個係非常之重要嘅，因為咧你會睇到啦，如果你缺乏咗呢一個覺知同埋穩定嘅話咧，咁其實你會喺修法上咧，其實你個心係會成日走嚟走去，係散亂㗎，然後甚至你可能自己都唔知你修緊乜嘢。咁所以喺開始嘅時候咧，其實我哋一定要有一個直指，即係一個穩定同埋呢一個具覺知嘅心。咁所以因此咧係觀呼吸呢個係好重要嘅。
And then the second one is relative bodhicitta. And here the I think one of our main problem when we are practicing is because of we think that we understand absolute bodhicitta, especially when we are talking about emptiness. Most of the time when we have like little idea about emptiness, then people, whenever they need to make offering, they will say that, oh, everything is emptiness, it is not need. Whenever we talk about practice, we will say, oh, everything is emptiness, we don't need to practice. Whenever we need to do something, we always talk about emptiness. But if we think properly, like in our daily life, we don't think about emptiness a lot. We do need to eat. When there is food, we don't say, oh, it is emptiness, we don't need to eat. When there is drink, we don't say, oh, drink is emptiness, we don't need to drink. Just like we need to eat, we need to drink, we need to wear, just like that, we have to understand that now we don't have the understanding of emptiness yet. For us, there's me, there's you, there's me, there's other, there's animal, there's human beings. So we have to consider that now we are not yet accepting the emptiness. So we have to like know that there's me and there's others.
咁之後就係呢一個世俗菩提心啦。咁當我哋講到世俗菩提心嘅時候咧，咁好多時我哋首先會覺得自己可能咧你會覺得自己已經明白咗咩叫聖義菩提心，即係呢個究竟嘅菩提心啦。特別就係所謂嘅空性啦。咁所以咧有時可能會講到要去做供養嘅時候，唔使啦，因為一切都係空性啦。當我哋要修持嘅時候都話係啊，一切都係空性，一切皆空啦，唔使修。咁其實咧，但係你咁樣講啦，雖然，但係你喺日常生活裏邊，你睇睇，如果你要食嘢嘅時候，你唔會覺得話啲食物係空性嘅，你就唔使食；或者係話要飲嘢嘅時候，你唔覺得啲飲品係空性唔使飲噶。你唔會因為咁咧，你就唔使食嘢、唔使飲嘢、唔使着衫咁噶。咁所以如果係咁嘅情況咧，你其實就都了解自己其實就冇真正明白到呢個空性噶，因為你仍然都係有一個我、有一個你、有一個他。仍然都會有動物、畜生、人類嘅呢個分別，咁所以亦都係咁樣咧，證明你係冇真正係對呢個空性有了解。
And even in here, when we are talking about me, we give very big importance to me. So the me can be different. For some, it can only be me. Sometimes me can be me and my family. We say me. Sometimes me, my family, my friends, like that. So it can be different interpretation of me, but I don't think it is that bad to have like attachment to me. But the only problem is when we give so much importance to me that sometimes we are ready to harm other beings so that we can benefit. So sometimes because of so much attachment to ourselves, we are ready to harm other beings. Because of attachment, because of anger. And if that is like that, then that is going to be a very big problem. The more attached we are to me, the more bigger problem it will create. So when we talk about mind training, the main practice is we are practicing to minimize the affection to me. So when we are able to minimize the me, when we have less attachment, less anger, less ignorance, then that means our practice is going well. That means our mind is being trained. So only when the me is getting smaller and smaller, it means that your mind is being trained. And not just because you are able to memorize all these texts, or not just because you went to so many different classes of mind training. So when we talk about mind training means when your self-cherishing is less.
咁所以咧就係話，我哋好多時候咧，其實對自己有覺得自己係好重要嘅，係好珍視自己㗎。咁好多時候啦，每個人對自己嘅定義係唔同嘅，有啲可能係淨係我自己啦，有啲可能就係我同我屋企人啦。有啲人就可能我同我屋企人加埋我啲朋友咁樣啦，大家嘅定義咧對呢個我咧係會有唔同㗎。咁但係無論如何啦，其實呢個咧都係源自於對自我嘅一個珍視或者一個執着嘅一個貪着。咁其實將自己嘅重要性係擺得太多啦，太重視自己。咁因此咧，有時咧太重視自己去到一個極致咧，可能就係會為咗 自己嘅利益咧而去傷害他人啦。咁亦都因此咧係會去做一啲害他嘅一啲行為啦，甚至就會再引發更多嘅呢個貪心同呢個嗔恨啦。咁所以如果咁樣落去咧，就會引發一個好大嘅問題嘅。咁所以咧呢啲所有嘅源頭都係因為對於一個自我嘅一個好強嘅呢個貪執而引起嘅。咁而呢個修心教法嘅重要咧，就係話佢嘅目的係要去減低你去自己，或者係將你對自己嘅嗰個貪愛咧係盡量減到最低嘅。如果你能夠做到嘅話咧，你嘅貪嗔痴自然係會減少啦。咁同埋咧，你自然咧就會係，如果你發現你自己貪嗔痴喺透過修心之後慢慢減少咧，咁就表示你個真係可以運用到呢個修心嘅教法啦。咁慢慢你就會對將自己嘅嗰個所謂嘅睇得會越嚟越細，唔會越嚟越唔會咁再珍愛自己咯。咁亦都係會你係會覺得他人係會比自己重要咯，對自己嘅愛惜係少啊。如果你係慢慢向住呢個方向嘅話咧，咁你就係嗰個修心嘅嗰個教法咧係真正係運用到出嚟啦。
And how to retrain our mind? So for that, the main practice is still the breathing practice. Just like before, but here instead of just being aware, when we are breathing in, we visualize that we are breathing in all the negativity of other beings. And when we are breathing out, we are visualizing that whatever positive that I have, my good health, my good fortune, everything, I'm giving it out to other beings. And we keep on doing that all the time. So, and the more we do that, the easier it is for us to remove our self-cherishing.
咁要點樣去修持？點樣去修我哋嘅心咧？咁同樣啦，其實都係用翻之前頭先嗰個呼吸法，但係而家咧就會多咗一啲觀想，就係首先咧，當你去吸氣嘅時候咧，你就觀想將他人所有嘅一啲唔好嘅嘢，所有嘅嗰啲係咯唔好嘅嘢啦，就將佢吸入去俾自己度啦。當你去呼氣嘅時候咧，就會將自己所有嘅健康啊、財富啊、所有嘅善妙咧，都係給予咗他人啦。咁如果你係越多去咁做，越常去咁做嘅話咧，你慢慢透過呢個修法咧，就會係令你對自己嗰個真視真愛啦，對自己嗰個貪執咧，係會越嚟越能夠去減少噶啦。
And when we do this practice, sometimes people are a little afraid because when we are breathing in all the negativity of other beings, then sometimes people think that or maybe this will bring me so much problem, maybe this will bring me so much sickness or illness, misfortune like that. And sometimes maybe we do encounter little difficulties when we are practicing, but I don't think that has anything to do with the practice, because even though when we visualize, we are not in real taking their negativity, we are just thinking from our mind. The only thing that it does is it will lessen our self-cherish. It will not take in all the negativity of others. If that is possible, then definitely the Buddhas and all the great masters, because of all the compassion they have, they will definitely take away all the other beings' negativity. But it is not possible to take in the negativity of others, but still we practice that so that we can start to believe that other beings are as important as me, and only after believing that other beings are important, then only we can be of help to others, or we will want to help others. But as long as we don't think that others are important, as long as we think only I am important, then we will never have the motivation of compassion. So you don't need to be afraid when you are doing this practice, but you should do it as often as you are able to.
Buddha and Bodhisattva can take it.
No.
They also can.
Yeah,
okay.
They also can.
Yeah. 咁所以就係話有啲人會可能擔心啦。如果我去修持呢一個自他交換嘅時候，當我吸入人哋嗰啲唔好嘅嘢啦，所有嘅唔好嘅嘢嘅時候，會唔會令我自己咧帶來好多問題啊、病啊或者不幸等等咧？咁因為可能咧，有時你會可能自己收緊呢個修心嘅法門嘅時候咧，可能你真係會遇上一啲困難嘅喎，咁可能你就會咁樣諗啦。咁但係喇嘛就會話啦，其實呢個係唔會有呢個關係嘅，係無關嘅，因為咧其實你去 咁樣修持嘅時候咧，唯一對你有嘅幫助個改變咧，就係你會對自己嗰個真視嗰個貪執咧係會減少，你會對自己嘅真愛咧係減少咗。你之後咧，你就會去視他人同自己係越嚟越平等，甚至你更加係關愛他人嘅。咁好似等於就算佛菩薩去修持呢啲修心法門嘅時候，佛菩薩當然係對呢個所有眾生都有好大嘅慈悲啦。但係佢哋就算佛菩薩，佢哋都冇辦法可以將眾生嘅嗰啲惡業去能夠真係去自己去受晒之後，佢哋眾生就可以係啦咁樣啦。咁身此佛菩薩做唔到，我哋自己更加係唔會因為咁而係會可以將別人嘅一啲不幸吸到喺自己度，令自己影響到自己。但係最重要呢個修心嘅法門咧，就係頭先有講過啦，就係令自己去明白到我同他人其實係同等重要嘅，同埋你係會因此透過呢個不停嘅修持咧，你會覺得自己嘅對自己嘅嗰個真愛啦，同埋自己嘅重要性咧係會減低。咁因為如果你冇辦法係去能夠有開始自己同他人平等嘅一個咁見解嘅話咧，你係冇辦法係他人咧係生起呢一個慈悲心㗎。咁所以因此咧，呢個修持嘅目的就係會希望令到你可以減低對自己嘅一個珍視。
And then comes the third point, transforming adversity into the path. And that is the third point of mind training. So we already talked about the first point and second point. And here, obviously, we are talking about the self-cherishing that we already talked. So we try to minimize that. And not only that, we try to have more love and compassion to other beings. And not only to the beings or other beings who are very helpful to us or who are very good to us. That is very easy for us. Whenever someone shows us love, it is very easy to show them love. Whenever somebody shows us compassion, it is very easy to show us compassion. But we need to know that to gain enlightenment, we need to have love, and we also need to have patience. And patience is normally not taught by the people who shows love to you. It is shown by people who are not good to you. So whenever people are like harming you, or whenever people are making some disturbances to you, whenever someone, not only people, whenever any kind of being, when they are like making harm to you, so you can always practice patience. Without the practice of patience, we are never able to gain enlightenment. So patience is very important. And to practice patience, what we need to have is, we need to have someone who is not good to us. And only after that we are able to practice patience. And just like when someone is very good to us, they are very good to us, then definitely someone who is not good to us is also very important to us, because only through them we are able to practice patience. And because of that, we should do the practice of mind training, not only thinking about only the people who are very close with or who are very good to us, but we should include all the sentient beings. And if we are able to do that, then even all the difficulties that we face, that can be also transformed into a path in our practice.
咁剛才就講咗頭兩點啦，之後第三點咧就係呢一個轉化惡緣咧為呢個菩提道啦。咁其實呢一度咧就係主要係講啦，就係因為咧我哋就係頭先講啦，我哋首先修心嘅目的就係要盡量減低對我自己自我嘅一個珍視啦，同埋要對他人咧生起更多嘅呢個慈悲心啦。咁所以因此咧，我哋就係對所有人對別人可能就係話我哋好容易，如果人哋對我好，我哋自然能夠會對佢好啦。如果人哋對你有慈悲心，你就自然係會對嗰個人都會好容易有慈悲心㗎。咁但係我哋要明白咧，我哋更重要去修持嘅咧，除咗呢個慈悲之外咧，就係要去修持呢個安忍啦。咁呢個修持安忍咧，就係冇辦法係會，譬如人哋對你好好嘅時候咧，你冇辦法對嗰個人修安忍㗎。係嗰啲人可能會傷害你嘅，佢會干擾你嘅，會對你帶來好多麻煩嘅。嗰啲人咧，你對住佢哋，你先至可以好好去修安忍㗎。咁所以咧，呢啲就係好重要嘅對象啦，就係要去你去可以喺呢啲對象嗰度去修安忍。咁亦都係啦，如果你冇去修持咧安忍嘅話咧，其實你冇辦法係得到呢個成佛㗎。咁所以有時咧，我哋就係話 好重要嘅明白咧，就係話我哋有啲人可能對你唔好嘅時候咧，其實你要明白其實呢一個好好嘅因緣咧，令你可以去修安忍啦。因為你要知道啊，你要靠佢先至可以你好好咁樣修到安忍。咁所以因此修心咧，唔係淨係對住對你好嘅人去修噶，我哋要係對住一切所有有情眾生去修持。咁所以因此咧，特別當你遇到困難嘅時候，如果你帶住呢個安忍嚟去修持咧，咁你亦都可以將呢個困難咧係轉為呢一個修持道啦。
And then the fourth point, applying this practice throughout our whole life. So even when we are healthy, like now, I'm definitely sure that all of you are very in good health. So we can practice this anytime. So whenever we are breathing in, we take in all the negativity, sickness, all the suffering of other beings. And then when we are breathing out, we are giving away all our good health, positivity to other beings. And not only now, but even when we are about to die, because normally most of the other practice, I think it is quite difficult to do when we are very sick or when we think we are about to die, because maybe you will need this, you will need that, so many things. But here in this practice, you don't need to have anything. If you want to have, then that is still good. If you want to have like 7 offering bowls or any other offerings, if you want to make that offering, then that is very good. Even if you don't want, then that is still okay, because the main practice is breathing. So whenever you are breathing in, you can do that. And even when we are about to die, I think we can still do this practice, because as long as we are breathing, we are not dead. And as long as we are breathing, we can practice this practice, because we can still think when we are not dead. So when we are breathing, we can always try to remember this practice. And we breathe all the time, knowingly, unknowingly. So we can do this anytime, anywhere, and in any place.
咁之後第4個要點就係濃縮不生嘅修持，即係將一生人嘅一個修持啦，作為呢個修持。咁其實意思就係話啦，咁當我哋而家好健康嘅時候啦，咁我哋可以隨時隨地都可以去修持啦。咁意思就係話啦，當我哋任何時候呼吸嘅時候咧，當吸氣嘅時候，我哋就可以觀想將一切有情眾生嘅嗰啲痛苦啊，所有佢嘅疾病啊，所有嘅唔好咧，都係吸入。之後就係呼出嘅時候，就將自己所有健康啊、所有嘅善妙啊、所有嘅福德啊，都係給予他人啦。咁其實咧，呢個咁嘅呼吸嘅修法咧，其實特別係甚至係你臨死嘅時候，你都可以去修嘅。因為就係當我哋臨死嘅時候咧，可能好難去再做其他嘅修持啦。因為可能其他嘅修持要各樣嘅條件啊、唔同嘅嘢都需要啦。咁好難喺一個好病嘅、好痛苦嘅時候，或者未必痛苦啦，或者你好虛弱、臨死嘅時候嘅狀況咧，係好難去修。但係咧，呢一個呼吸嘅呢個修持啦，呢個修心嘅修持咧，係乜嘢都唔需要嘅。你只要有呼吸，你就可以修啦。當然啦，如果你中意可以擺7隻供杯咁樣等等咧，呢都係可以嘅。但係就算你唔做呢啲，你只需要你仲有呼吸嘅時候，任何時間你都可以修。所以咧，就算係到你臨死前嗰刻，只要你仲有呼吸，你未死啦，即係咁，所以你嗰陣時都仍然可以係去做呢個修持嘅。咁因此啦，就係話呢個呼吸嘅修持啦。就係你係唔需要依賴任何嘢㗎，你只要仲有呼吸，你就可以修持。咁所以就係極度非常之適合咧，就係可能去到你臨死之前咧，你都係去做呢個修持啦。
And then the 5th point is the measure of mind training, like the limit of mind training. And for that, we have like 2 witnesses. So one is others and one is self. So the first one is the other means like other beings or other people, those who are around you, they will see changes in you when you are more compassionate, when you are more loving kindness, and when others see changes in you being a better person. So that is like one witness. But this can be little deceiving sometimes, because sometimes even though we are not that changed, but we can always act in some ways and people might think that, oh, he or she has changed. So the most important witness is self. The second one, it is not others, but yourself. So when you think for yourself, then when you check how you have been, how your compassion is, how your loving kindness is, how your patience is, if you see improvement in yourself, then it means that you are improving, your mind is being trained. But if you don't see any changes in yourself, then it means that there's not much training in your mind yet. You still need to train it a lot. So even though we have like 2 witnesses, the second one is more important. When you look into yourself, you need to see some change, more loving kindness, more compassion, and more patience. And only that is like a measurement of the practice going well.
咁頭先留咗少少就係話，當我哋所以因此呼吸咧，有時我哋知同唔知自己呼吸嘅情況之下，我哋都可以喺任何地方啦、任何時間咧去修呢個呼吸法㗎。咁之後咧，去到第5點啦，就係呢一個修行有成嘅徵兆裏邊咧，咁佢就會呢個所謂徵兆咧，或者係一啲見證人咧，係有2類嘅，一類咧就係他人，一個係自己啦。咁如果講他人先就係話啦，如果可能有啲人會覺得你可能變得更有慈悲心啊，可能你就會覺得你個人真係有啲唔同咗喎。咁其實呢一個咧係其中一個嘅一個徵兆啦。但係當然啦，別人嘅睇法咧，其實有時可能都有誤導㗎。咁有啲人可能會就係好純粹好主觀咁覺得有啲改變啊，或者佢自己嘅感受啦。咁所以咧最重要嘅嗰個見證咧，其實係你自己。咁如果你自己發現啦，自己可能真係多咗呢一個慈心，多咗個悲心或者安忍係真係有所真相嘅話咧，咁你呢個就係先至係真正你會自己明白，可能我呢個修心嘅係真係有所進展啦。咁所以就係話自己同他人作為證人嘅話咧，係自己睇得到個改變咧，係先更重要嘅。咁所以亦都可以話啦，自己係去睇返自己嘅修行嘅嗰個程度有冇多到慈心、悲心同安忍咧，呢個先至係唯一可靠嘅一個呢一個徵兆。
And then the 6th point is commitment. And when we talk about commitment, especially when we are talking in Vajrayana terms, sometimes people are very afraid that, when I break a commitment, then I will be born in hell, or maybe like somewhere very dangerous. And people are very afraid to make commitments, but actually it is not like that. All these commitments, whenever we try to learn that, it is just making you a better person. It is reminding you how to be a better person. And even here, the only commitment that we need to have is, I will try to cherish myself less, and I will try to see others as very important or very useful. Even all the other beings, just like me, they also need to be happy. Just like me, they also need to be and feel happy. They also need to be away from suffering. Just like me, they are also a being looking for happiness. And if I am able to do anything for them, I should always be ready to help like that. So the commitment is, I should treasure myself less, and I should treasure others more. So that is the 2 commitments that we are trying to make. And obviously, just because we make a commitment, it is not going to happen all of a sudden. We will always be able to do that. Of course, we are going to not be able to do that, but we try to do it again and again and again as much as we can.
咁之後咧，第6點咧就係呢個修心嘅誓言啦。咁我哋一聽到誓言，有時大家會好驚啦，咪特別係喺密乘嚟講啦，咁會話如果破咗誓言嘅話咧，就會落地獄等等噶。咁但係其實喇嘛就話，其實我哋唔需要擔心或者懼怕呢個誓言嘅，因為咧其實呢啲誓言只係會令你會成為一個更好嘅人，或者一個提醒。係令到幫助你，係會令你係有所改進，同埋令你會變得更好嘅啫。咁所以咧，喺呢一個修心嚟講咧，其實個誓言就係好簡單嘅。首先就係話你係會盡力嘗試去減少對自己嘅珍視啦，對自己嘅真愛啦，愛惜自己啦，盡量減少。另外咧，就係要盡力咧係視他人會更重要，他人係覺得係更比自己更有用嘅，咁係更去珍惜佢他人嘅。咁所以因此咧。你點解會可以做到咁？就係因為你會明白到，其實他人同我自己都一樣係會鍾意想要快樂㗎，一樣係會想感受到呢個歡樂，同埋亦都係想遠離痛苦㗎。咁所以既然他人同我自己都係同樣有呢個咁嘅希求咯，咁所以我應該要盡力咧，係令到其他人都係能夠得到快樂，都係能夠得到呢個能夠脫離痛苦㗎。咁所以就係帶住呢個心態咧，你就係會有其實誓言只有2個咧，就係。第一個就係要減低對自己嘅個貪愛珍視， 第二個就係要去視他人比自己更重要啦。咁所以因此咧，如果你能夠帶住呢兩個誓言，一路繼續去努力咁去修持啦，咁就係慢慢就係會令到自己可以係對自己嘅呢個真視咧係越嚟越減低。最重要咧就係我哋要係去不斷咁努力，時刻刻咁好努力咁去修持。
And then comes the last point, which is the advice of mind training. And for that, we need to do not only the advice, but also the precept of mind training. So here what we do is we do it like every day, we do it like 2 times. So in the morning when you wake up, so you try to remind yourself that today I will be very compassionate, I will be very loving kindness. Whenever I have the opportunity to help others, I will try to help. And you need to have like that kind of motivation. And again, before going to sleep, then again you check what you did during the daytime, whether I was able to help, whether I did help. If even I had the opportunity but I didn't help, then I am very sorry for that. But maybe from tomorrow, I will definitely going to help. I will definitely going to be useful for someone like that. And sometimes people think that it is very difficult to help others, but actually it is not like that. And sometimes people think that only when you are extremely rich or extremely healthy, then only you can help. But actually it is not like that. There are so many different ways, in small ways, that we can be of help. And it doesn't matter how we are, where we are. Even when we are like going in a MTR, then again there are so many people. If we are sitting, if we see like an old person, or maybe someone who is pregnant like that, we can offer the seat. Or sometimes when we eat food, when we order too much, instead of ordering too much, we can order less, or maybe we can give it to someone who is in need of this food. There are so many different ways, and especially when you are traveling in a less developed country, you are able to see so many opportunities. Even from your side, maybe it will seem very small, but from their side, it will be very big. And all these small and big are just some terms that we make. There's nothing like small, there's nothing like big. For someone, maybe $10 will be very small. For some, $10 will be very big. For some, $100 will be very big, but for some, again, it will be very small. So you don't have to worry about being too much or too less. So you are able to have so many opportunities to help some other beings. So whenever you are able to do that, you should try to do that. And even for that, there are many different categories. It doesn't only mean that you should help monasteries, monks, nuns. There are different ways. Sometimes some people, they are more easier to help, like dogs and cats. They feel easier to help them. Sometimes people feel much easier to help people studying in the school instead of monks and nuns. Sometimes people feel easier maybe helping poor or handicapped people. So no matter what you see, where you see, if you are able to help, so in the beginning you should help to someone that you feel comfortable with. And after that, you can definitely improve or increase your help. But right from the beginning, we cannot try to help everyone. So there need to be someone which we feel connected with. And none of them is wrong. Even if you help a dog, that is still correct. Even if you help a school-going kid, that is still correct. Even if you make offering to the monks, that is still correct. Nothing is right, nothing is wrong. All of them is correct, I guess. There's not like saying, oh, only you have to do this. There's nothing like that. Whichever you feel comfortable, whichever you feel easy, you can do that. And after that, you can always grow your compassion and loving kindness.
咁所以第7點咧就係修心嘅呢個學處啦。咁其實呢度包括就係話喺啦。咁其實首先就係話會講啦，係一日有2次，2次嘅意思就係話啦，當你起身嘅時候咧， 提醒自己咧，今日我要努力去生起呢一個慈心悲心等等啦。咁如果譬如話見到有人要幫忙，我哋要去好好去幫助佢咯，咁樣去帶住咁嘅發心啦，喺上晝嘅時候。咁之後啦，到夜晚啦，當你臨瞓嘅時候咧，咁你亦都會可以去總結一下，今日我有冇去幫到任何人咧？我有冇把握呢個機會去幫助我見到有需要嘅人咧？咁可能有時你會覺得好可惜，就係可能你錯過咗啲機會，咁你感到抱歉啦。亦都可能會咧，你會諗啦，聽日如果有見到再咁有機會咧，我一定會把握嚟好好去幫助他人㗎。咁樣就係夜晚去做嘅呢一個思維啦。咁當然有時有啲人會覺得好難去幫人嘅喎，好似要即係要好有錢嘅人或者係好有能力先可以幫到人嘅。但係喇嘛就係咁講，就係話唔係嘅。其實咧，我哋唔需要係非常有錢啊，或者係好有條件先可以幫到人嘅。其實我哋甚至可以喺香港啦，搭地鐵嘅時候，你見到有老人家有孕婦啊，你可以讓座啦，或者你食嘢嘅時候，你可能叫多咗嘢，或者你有多餘嘅食物可以給予一需嘅人啦。甚至你如果去到啲窮嘅國家裏邊啦，其實係更多機會去幫人嘅。可能你會只係覺得付出少少，但係嗰啲地方嘅人咧，可能會接受咗好多㗎，同埋特別多少咧，都係我哋自己去叫做去做出嚟嘅一個比較嘅一個量詞嚟嘅啫。其實咧，所謂多同少咧，係冇得一個真正嘅定義㗎，因為好簡單，譬如有啲人覺得10蚊係多，有啲人覺得10蚊係少，有啲人覺得係100蚊係少，有啲人覺得100蚊係多㗎。咁其實所以咧。呢個無論係多少都好，其實就係話，如果你有機會去幫助，其實你就要把握去幫啦。同埋幫助嘅方式有好多，可以係有啲人可能會幫助啲出家人啦、寺院啦，同埋啲男女嘅真尼眾啦。但有啲人可能就會覺得要去幫呢一啲動物畜生，或者即係狗啊、貓啊等等啦，或者係有啲人想去幫一啲學生啊，或者係幫助一啲傷殘人士，其實冇問題嘅。你就係只係需要去幫助一啲你最覺得舒服，或者係你最覺得想去幫嘅人就可以㗎啦。就慢慢當你去習慣咗去做呢啲善行嘅時候咧，你再將呢個幫助嘅一個範圍再去慢慢係增加、去改善、再擴闊。咁一開始嘅時候咧，其實就冇辦法去幫晒所有嘢嘅，所以最主要就係話你係揾一個你覺得最舒服、最自然去幫助到嘅一個對象去幫忙就最好啦。咁所以因此咧就係話咧，我哋冇一個必須要去幫助某一個對象嘅一個講法㗎。其實你想去幫助出家人又好啊，幫助一啲動物又好啊，其實幫助學生又好啊，其實所有都係好㗎，冇一個係唔好㗎。咁所以最重要就係從你覺得最自然、最舒服嘅嗰個方面去入手去做呢一啲善行，之後將來慢慢再去把握機會去將佢更加增上啦，同埋更加去擴闊呢一啲幫助嘅呢啲範圍啦。
Yeah, I guess so. This is for today's class. And if you have any question, then please you can ask.
咁所以今日嘅開示就係去到呢度啦。如果大家在座嘅有任何問題咧，就可以發問。
Thank you, Choje Lama Wangchuk. This speech I listened to directly to English teaching. And I know that you studied in SMD schools in 1987. Thrangu HK built a Thrangu SMD school 13 years ago. So can you share about the mission of Thrangu HK to help the poor children? How's the benefits about after the 30 years to the poor children and to the country?
Translate 咁呢位師兄就問啦，咁喺尼泊爾有個 SMD 學校啦，咁其實佢就係1997年創立嘅嘛，1987年，1987年創立嘅。1987年創立1987年創立，但係阿喇嘛就係其實1997年就係入讀嗰間學校。OK sorry，咁係 sorry 係阿喇嘛就係1987年就係入讀呢間學校嘅，就係 SMD 學校啦。咁其實都已經係有30幾年嘅歷史呢個學校。咁其實呢個學校係創古仁波切嘅一個願景，就係要希望咧能夠幫助一啲貧窮嘅呢一個學生或者係啲兒童啦嘅一個學校嘅。咁佢就喇嘛可唔可以分享一下即係關於呢個學校嘅一啲願景，或者係佢對呢個事業嘅 寧波車呢一個善行事業嘅嗰個影響。
And talking about SMD or Sri Mangaldeep, SMD stands for Sri Mangaldeep. I think this is like one of Rinpoche's main project, and obviously Rinpoche has so many projects in Nepal and in India. We have monasteries, we have clinics, and we have schools. And Rinpoche had built all these different organizations in the last maybe 40 years. And while he was in Nepal and when he was traveling or when he was taking the pilgrimage around Nepal, then he was able to visit so many, the Himalayan region of Nepal, like the northern part of Nepal, where like Kempodawa is from, and the only Kempodawa. And like most of the monks and nuns are from, like even he is also from there. So when Rinpoche was traveling in Manang, Tsum, Nar, and all these places as pilgrimage, he saw so many people who were not educated. And even when he talked with the parents, he said, oh, why don't they go to school? Then they said that the education is not that good level in the village. And not only that, it is very difficult to survive in this difficult condition. So first he thought of like maybe he should build a school in the village. But then again, when you have a school in the village, then again it is very difficult for the school to have teachers. And even if you build one school, you can only help one village. So for that, he need to make one school in Kempodawa's village, then one school in, if you know or not, like we have Kempotashi, one of the most senior monk in our monastery, his village, then again another monk's village, another nun's village, all these different villages, then it is going to be very difficult to have so many schools. But instead of that, what he did was he started a school in Kathmandu, in the capital of Nepal, so that all these young kids from all these different places can come to the city and receive the best education from different teachers within the city. So that is why he built the school in Kathmandu in 1987.
咁呢間學校咧，其實就係創古寧波車可以話喺40幾年前創立嘅。咁中文譯名就係呢個斯里曼哥普爾學校，咁簡稱係 SMD 學校啦。咁呢間學校咧，其實就係點解會係寧波車係要去起呢間學校咧？就係因為當時寧波車喺尼泊爾各地朝聖嘅時候啦，咁特別就係見到喜馬拉雅山區啦，即係其實尼泊爾北部全部都係喜馬拉雅山嗰啲山區嘅地方㗎。咁其實堪布達娃其實都係其中一個。嗰個呢啲山區嗰度嚟自呢個地方嘅。咁寧波車見到呢啲山區裏邊咧，其實好多啲幼童咧都係冇書讀嘅，失學㗎。咁當我哋問嗰啲佢哋嘅父母嘅時候，點解你啲小朋友冇書讀咧？就係因為首先就係喺學校，其實喺嗰啲鄉村學校咧，嗰啲程度好差㗎。咁亦都係其實喺鄉村個環境咧，其實好難，即係生存亦都唔係咁容易啦。咁所以咧，當時咧，寧波車就會諗啦，如果我要去俾呢啲小朋友係能夠接受教育啦。咁但如果佢諗啦，就係話如果我係只係喺呢啲農村嗰度，喺呢啲山村裏邊咧，係喺學校嘅話咧，其實首先就好難係揾到好嘅老師去到呢啲學校度教書啦。除此之外就係話如果你每條村都起一間學校啦，咁可能堪布達娃嗰條村又起一間啦，咁之後創古寺有個老嘅喇嘛德斯嗰度嗰條村又起一間，咁其實咧你起極咧都係唔夠，因為每個村咧都一間學校嘅話咧，其實係好困難嘅呢個營運。咁所以咧，其實寧波車就會諗到咧，就係反而係會喺加德滿都，即係尼泊爾嘅首都嗰度啦，係起一間學校，就令到咧佢有好好嘅一個條件啦，令到所有呢啲咁嘅幼童咧都可以喺嗰度咧接受到係最好嘅教育。咁所以因此有呢個發心咧，就係喺1987年嘅時候咧就成立咗呢間學校啦。
And then when he built the school in 1987, so that was almost 35 years back. And people were not that open-minded. And when he built the school, when he was giving education to all these poor kids, he also thought that maybe the monks should also have some education like normal education or basic education. So even the monks from our monastery, even though they were monk, they were asked to go to school to receive the education in school so that they can learn English, maths, science, Nepali, and all these different subjects. And back then, Rinpoche faced so many difficulties because most of the senior people back then didn't accept monk to study anything other than Buddhist practice. But our school was most likely the first school where not only the normal kids, but also the monks were also attending. So that was like a very special school, and only we can imagine how much difficulty it was back then for Rinpoche. And those who have met Rinpoche, you will know that Rinpoche doesn't speak English so well, doesn't speak Chinese, doesn't speak Nepali well, but still only because of his great compassion, he was able to start the school and have so many children studying for free. And not only that, even the monks and nuns going to the school receive basic education. And even after so many obstacles, people asking him not to build or not to start a school where monks receive all this normal education, because they were afraid that when they learn about all this different education, it might spoil their Buddhism practice. But you can see it for yourself now. He was way forward thinking than most of the people back then. And not only in Nepal, I don't think we had a school like that back then in any other countries. Maybe I'm wrong, but still, even if we had, it was very few.
咁所以咧就係呢個可以話係35年前啦，就成立咗呢一間學校啦，1987年。咁但係當時其實都唔容易嘅成立呢間學校，因為當時嘅人咧啲諗法都係比較保守嘅。咁特別係咧呢間學校咧係俾咧出家人咧都會可以去讀呢一個我哋叫基礎教育啦。意思就係話啦，出家人咧亦都可以咧喺呢一度咧係學習到譬如話英文啊、數學啊、科學啊，同埋譬如尼泊爾話等等嘅。但係當時咧好多啲年長或者啲長輩啦，或者當時嘅人嘅心咧就係會覺得出家人咧就應該淨係學呢個佛學嘅，就唔應該學其他嘅呢一啲學科嘅。咁所以當時喺呢一個建造呢一個即係成立呢個學校嘅時候咧，其實確實係遇到好多困難嘅。咁但係咧，其實仁波切就係有個心，就係要去覺得要去俾呢個教育，唔係淨係俾嗰啲幼童啦，其實連出家人同埋即係無論係真人或者係尼眾啦，男女嘅出家人啦，其實都應該係接受呢啲基礎教育嘅。佢係帶住呢個心去做，咁就係因為佢呢個大悲心嘅緣故啦。其實當時仁波切自己又唔識中文啊、英文啊、尼泊爾文，佢都唔係好熟悉，但係佢就係有住呢個心，就係佢一定要希望啲出家人都可以接受到呢個基礎教育咁嘅心啦。咁所以佢就成立咗呢間學校啦。雖然當時有好多困難啦，好多人都覺得唔應該要起一間嘅學校啊，特別係唔應該俾啲出家人咧係去學呢啲咁嘅唔係佛法嘅一啲學科啦，因為佢哋會覺得咧可能咁樣咧令到佢哋咧影響咗呢個佛法嘅學習嘅。但係到時今時今日你就會發現，其實呢樣嘢係冇影響，或者係甚至係仁波切呢個願景咧，呢個咁嘅遠見咧，確實係成功嘅。因為就係可以話啦，喺呢個世界上咧，其實都可以話冇，或者甚至係唔多咧。喺呢個學校建立之前咧，確實係冇乜學校咧係俾一啲僧眾咧可以學習呢個基礎教育嘅。
And even for me personally, the school is very important because I was one of the first student in the school. So when the school started in 1987, I was admitted in the school in 1987. So I studied in the school from kindergarten. And then when I was in grade 6, I became a monk in our monastery. And because of the environment that we had in the school, even when I was like in grade 2, 3, I wanted to be a monk since I was a kid. But my parents didn't let me be a monk when I was too young. Only when I was in grade 6, then my parents accepted me to be a monk. So even for me, the school is very important. And even after becoming monk when I was in grade 6, even when I was living in the monastery, but those who have been in Nepal, you will be able to see we still go to the school every day and then come back to the monastery. So I was able to complete my high school from the same school, and I was like the first monk in a monk's group to complete a high school in Nepal. And because of the great compassion of Rinpoche school, I was able to study there. And not only that, we have so many monks and nuns who are able to communicate or give teachings in English. And obviously, when you are in Nepal, you have to speak Nepali, and they can also give teachings in Nepali. And if they live their whole life as a monk, still that is very important to have all this education. And like all of you already know, all the monks who are at the monastery cannot be monk their whole life. Sometimes they do have to leave for different reasons. And even if they are not able to live as a monk their whole life, when they leave, they can still have some education, which is going to be very helpful for them in their next adventure, I guess. So even for the monks, it is very important, even if they are monks for the whole life, or even if they are monks for a few years, and definitely for the students who are not monks, that is definitely very helpful for them. So the school is a very important project of Rinpoche, and the center here in Hong Kong and the students here in Hong Kong are contributing to the school a lot in the past few years, and I hope it will still continue with all the support that you have shown. And thank you everyone for all the contribution, and I hope we will continue getting support and contribution from all of you for the school.
咁所以就係咁特別對喇嘛本身自己嚟講咧，亦都係呢間學校係非常重要，因為佢就係可以話係咧創校嘅時候咧，就已經係加入咗呢間學校啦，就1987年嘅時候啦。咁當時佢入讀嘅時候咧，佢係從幼稚園開始入讀嘅。咁其實佢當時咧係好細嘅時候未出家啦，但係佢到咗呢一個6年級嘅時候咧，佢就出家啦。因為當時其實佢2、3歲嘅時候咧，其實佢一心都會想去出家噶啦，但係當時佢父母咧就唔俾啦，因為佢太年青啦，仲係太年幼啦。咁去到咗6年級嘅時候咧，佢就係出家啦。咁但係當時就算佢出咗家之後咧，喺寺院度生活啦，佢都係繼續喺呢間學校度讀書嘅，讀翻個正規嘅教學㗎。咁所以因此佢即係可能就係每日啦。佢就係話啦，佢每日都係會翻去呢間學校度讀書啦，咁放學就翻寺院咁樣嘅生活啦。咁直到去高中畢業嘅，咁所以佢亦都係第一個咧係出家人係得到呢個高中畢業嘅，喺呢一個係正規尼泊爾嘅正規嘅呢一個高中教育嘅畢業生啦。佢係一個第一個出家人嘅身份係得到呢一個高中畢業嘅。咁所以佢能夠得到呢啲咁嘅教育咧，佢完全都係源於仁波切呢一個大悲啦，去建立呢間學校咧，佢先至可以有咁嘅受到呢個教育嘅。咁除唔係淨係指佢啦，好多出家人啦、僧人同尼眾啦，其實都係透過咁樣咧係學習到好好嘅英文啊，同埋尼泊爾啦嘅文啦。咁因為佢哋之後咧，亦都可以咧畢業之後咧，可以以英文去做教學啦，同埋喺尼泊爾生活一定要識尼泊爾文嘅，都可以用尼泊爾文做教學。咁所以因此咧，你可以睇得到啊，成立咗呢間學校俾佢哋嘅教育咧係非常之重要嘅。咁因為就算好多出家人啦，佢哋可能將來唔係一世都出家㗎。可能佢哋之後因為有唔同嘅原因啦，佢哋可能會還俗啦。咁但係因為佢受過呢個教育咧，其實呢啲教育對佢下一階段嘅呢一個生活咧，都係有好大嘅幫助嘅。可能佢只係可能出咗家幾年，但係接受呢個教育咧，對佢生命都有改變嘅。咁所以因此咧，你可以睇到仁波切呢個學校對呢啲出家人又好啦，甚至係在家人當然更加啦。佢學生本身冇教育嘅時候，佢都有一個好重要嘅一個幫助。咁所以睇得到呢個教學咧，其實係呢一個學校咧係非常之重要嘅。咁喇嘛亦都係講啦，呢間學校咧其實過去就好多香港嘅中心嘅弟子咧係會去護持呢一間學校啦。咁所以亦都喇嘛借呢個機會咧係多謝大家過去嘅呢個一直嘅呢個護持啦，亦都希望咧大家係將來亦都繼續去護持呢個學校啦，令到呢一個咁嘅事咧可以繼續落去啦。
Okay, thank you everyone.
Just want to ask, how do we define a pure devotion? because everyone has devotions that's based on some motivation. Personal, some more noble. So what should be the right pure?
咁呢個問題就係問喇嘛點樣去定義呢一個我哋話清淨嘅呢個虔敬心啦，因為可能大家生起虔敬心可能有唔同嘅動機啊，有啲比較個人嘅，有啲可能就比較好嘅，就係意思就係話可能佢會為咗得到證悟而生起虔敬心啦。咁我哋點樣去定義呢？
So when we are talking about devotion, definitely there are different ways of devotion, and the first. So you only want to know what is devotion or how to have devotion.
First,
What is devotion or how to have devotion?
First part you need to know it.
What is devotion?
And how, and what is devotion and how to arise devotion?
Yeah.
咁當然啦，虔敬心咧有好多唔同嘅方式或者形式嘅，咁但係首先你要知道乜嘢係呢一個虔敬心，同埋點樣去生起虔敬心。
So like giving a pure devotion is based on personal motivations. Like I want to be better. Let's just take one example. Ask my children to chant. So because I want to get smarter. So is it the right motivation? Or if without those intent or the outcome, we can't just simply ask someone to do the practice the Dharma. There's no outcome. So then how do we define pure motivation? It's a necklace.
Pure motivation or pure devotion?
Pure devotion.
咁頭先師兄就講啦，就係話當譬如我哋咩叫清淨嘅虔敬心嘅時候，譬如但係有時我哋其實個心背後都係帶住虔敬心嘅背後，其實都係想改善自己，譬如話令自己變得更好嘅意思。譬如話當我哋修文殊嘅時候，其實可能我哋都會想令自己會聰明啲啦，咁等等啦。其實我哋好多時候都會睇嗰個結果。
So pure devotion is like when we are talking about our teacher, then that is a little different. So when we look at our teacher and see him or her incomparable from the Buddha himself, then that is like a pure devotion. So that is for the teacher. And then for the practice, when we have like complete faith that whenever we are practicing whichever practice, then we have the faith that this practice is going to help me not only in this life, but it is going to be of benefit in my next life also. And then with that kind of devotion, when we practice, I think we can say that is like a pure devotion. But when we have like very limited understanding that it is only going to benefit me for a very short time, then I don't think that is like a pure devotion. That is more like an attachment, I guess.
咁呢個清淨嘅虔敬心咧，咁如果我哋講話我哋對上師對導師嘅呢個清淨虔敬心咧，咁就係我哋就會係當你視呢一個你嘅上師啦，同佛陀係無別嘅時候咧，咁呢個就係一個清淨嘅對上師嘅呢個清淨嘅虔敬心啦。咁如果你講對修持嘅一個清淨嘅虔敬心咧，就係話如果你認為任何嘅修持，你都會覺得或者你感覺到任何嘅修持咧，其實都係會能夠對我今生同埋將來世咧都係有利益，能夠有幫助嘅。咁呢一個就係一個清淨對呢個修持嘅一個清淨嘅呢一個虔敬心啦。咁但係平時我哋有局限嘅呢個虔敬心嘅意思係咩咧？就係話譬如話你可以覺得可能某個修持只係對我暫時有呢個利益嘅啫，對我而家呢一刻有一啲短暫嘅利益咁樣嘅態度啦，只係可能你對我只係有一啲係啦短暫嘅利益咁樣嘅態度咧，咁其實呢一個就可以甚至可以話唔係一個虔敬心，只係一個可以話係一個貪執，一個係啦貪著。
And even when we like read the text of Kampopa, it is said that you might mistake devotion and attachment because they seem very, very similar. And not only in practice, especially these days when we see someone as a teacher, we might mistake our attachment as our devotion, especially when we have like young Rinpoches, very highly respected Rinpoches. Sometimes people feel that they have devotion to these Rinpoches or Tulkus or whoever, but most of the time, instead of devotion, it is more like attachment, because they respect these teachers because of how they look, how they carry themselves, how they are treated by their followers, like that. And just like that, even when we are practicing, sometimes it is not because of devotion, because we are attached to it, because we just want to make more wealth. Sometimes when we practice Zambala, it is not because of devotion, it is just because we want to get more rich. Even when we recite Manjushri, it is not because we want to get enlightened, it is just because maybe we can understand more. Actually, these are like very side benefit of after getting enlightenment. When you target getting enlightenment, then after you receive the stage of enlightenment, you will have wisdom, you will have wealth, all this will come very easily to you. But right from the beginning, if you are only looking for wealth, if you are only looking for health, or if you are only looking for all this short-term benefit, then most of the time it is attachment instead of devotion.
咁所以咧，江波巴大師亦都有喺佢嘅教言裏邊有講過咧，好多人咧都會誤以為虔敬心其實本身嗰個係一個貪着貪執嚟嘅，即係會錯認咗，以為係虔敬心，其實嗰個係貪執。你意思係咩咧？就係話啦，如果有啲人當對上司可能以為自己好有虔敬心，其實你對上司生起嗰個唔係虔敬心，係一個貪愛嚟嘅，係一個貪執嚟嘅。特別就係話咧，對一啲可能好年輕嘅一啲上司啦，或者年輕嘅仁波切嘅時候咧，你可能就會咧對佢好似好有虔敬，其實嗰個你係對上司嘅貪愛，你可能對佢嘅貪愛係來自於可能你對佢嘅外商啊，或者係佢點樣對佢弟子啊嗰啲咁嘅嗰個態度啊等等啦，嚟去而因此生起咗一個貪愛，而唔係真正嘅呢一個虔敬心嘅。咁喺修持上都係嘅。如果其實你係為咗你係可能要想有更多嘅財富啊，或者係更多嘅智慧啊等等呢啲咧，其實或者所謂智慧即係明白呢個理解能力呢樣嘢啦。咁我哋會修持呢個文殊啦，或者你想有更多財富，你係想之後你會修持財神啦。但係其實呢啲係唔係源於嗰個虔敬心，係源於嗰個貪心嚟貪執貪著。咁其實呢啲所謂嘅財富同埋智慧，其實可以話係副作用嚟嘅啫。如果你係一心係為咗要去得到證悟咧，當你真正得到證悟嘅時候咧，其實所有呢啲咁嘅智慧啊、呢啲財富啊係會自然會有噶啦。咁但亦都好容易就會擁有啦。但係重點就係話，如果你只係為咗一啲短暫嘅利益係而去修持嘅話咧，其實你嗰個就唔係一個虔敬心，你所有具備嘅只係有一個貪執貪著。
Lama what the teaching was shared, right? I have always have something in my mind because now we are talking about the night training. And you mentioned about some meditation we need to refrain without. Sometimes I have problem, especially when I do my practice. I always cannot control my mind. There's so many things coming out, and I get distracted so easily. So, do you have some techniques or advice for us? Like, what can we do for us to get back to the focus, the concentration?
咁呢個師兄就係問題就係咧，而家提到修心裏邊咧係會有呢一個觀呼吸啦。咁當佢自己去修持嘅時候咧，咁其實佢就會成日都會容易咧就唔能夠專心啦，好容易受干擾啦，會散亂啦。咁就請喇嘛會唔會有啲咩建言咧？有咩方法咧可以教導，可以令我哋容易啲去專注咧
Yeah, for that, when we think that our mind is thinking so many things, Actually, that is like the first step of improvement in our meditation. Because when we first start, we are not able to think that. Once we sit in meditation and all of a sudden you will think and think, it will be, if you are doing for 30 minutes, it will be gone. But once you start practicing that, you will realize that, oh, you are having so many different thoughts when you are practicing. So actually that is a sign of improvement in your meditation. And beside that, there are ways to improve. And like there are some physical things that we can do. So this is what we call agitation when we are practicing. So we can wear like more clothes, feel a little warmer, and we can stay in a place where it is little darker. Then it will help you having maybe like less thoughts we can say like that. But if you feel like very lazy and not so interested in practicing, then you have to wear like little less clothes and stay in a place where it is brighter like that. Even these like small condition will also help. But obviously the main thing to do is just keep on meditating more and more. There's nothing else we can do to improve our meditation. The only thing the only thing to improve our meditation is meditation. Just like to improve our swimming, we need to swim. There's not like going to the gym or maybe some good goggles or good swimming trunks might help you a little bit. But the most important thing is you just need to swim more and more, and then maybe you'll swim faster and faster. So just like that, even for meditation, the only thing that is going to improve our meditation is meditation itself.
咁所以咧係當你發現你個心啦好多呢一個雜念咧，或者係好多念頭生起，其實呢個可以話係你去修持禪修，其實可以話係第一步咧，你就會發現咗呢樣嘢㗎。咁呢個亦都係好，即係唔係一件唔好嘅事情，因為就係話好多人咧一開始禪修嘅時候咧，就會以為咁我可能而家開始禪修啦，可能我坐30分鐘之後咧，可能嗰啲念頭雜念咧會冇晒嘅。咁但係其實當你修嘅時候咧，你就會發現啦，其實唔係嘅。當你開始禪修嘅時候咧，你反而會發現咧，會留意到有更多嘅呢個雜念㗎。其實呢個就係你第一個階段，可以話係修持禪修嘅時候第一個階段啦。咁但係當然啦，有啲方法咧，其實可以有啲改善㗎，即係關於呢啲我哋話係昏沉或者掉舉啦。咁其實當你好多呢個念頭嘅時候咧，即係個心好散嘅時候咧，成日散亂好多念頭嘅時候咧。咁其實你就可以可能係着翻多啲衫啦，同埋咧嗰個環境咧就唔好係一啲咁光猛嘅環境，可能就會令到幫助你少啲雜念㗎。咁另外，如果可能你變得比較係昏沉啦，好似好成日好容易，甚至可能想瞌眼瞓嘅情況咧，咁可能你就會係要唔好着咁多衫啦，同埋就係即係着啲清涼啲嘅衫啦，令你清涼啲嘅衫啦，同埋就係會去一啲咧係光猛啲嘅地方咁去修咯。咁但係呢啲都係一啲方法，但係喇嘛就係話最重要就係你其實要保持住一路去持續咁去修持，之以恆咁去修持。咁正如好似你去學游水一樣啦，你其實點樣學得好游水咧？你就係去游多啲，練多啲啦。可能你去一啲唔同嘅地方或者去改嗰個環境，可能有少少幫助，但係最後都係要你多練習先得㗎。你要多練習，你先可以越修越好嘅。同樣禪修都係一樣啦，就係話你係要持之以恆去多去練習，咁你先有改善㗎。本身就係話禪修你要去改進嘅方法就係要去多做禪修啦，就係禪修本身就係嗰個方法令你去改善。
好啦，咁呢度先上面有一個問題嘅，咁有個師兄朋友想問咧，如果喺臨終嘅時候，佢想用呢個呼吸法去修心，咁有咩觀賞或者要注意嘅地方係可以有幫助
？Lama, there's one online question. It's about when we are going to die in this final stage. Before in our last minute before we die, if we want to practice this breathe in, breathe out, mantra practice, what is the any specific or any specific way to practice this during the end of our life?
Even at the end of our life stage, we can still practice that, and it doesn't matter, because normally when we are dying, if we are not dead because of accident, then not it is because of sickness or maybe old age, and definitely we will not be able to sit like as said in the text. We cannot sit straight, like back straight, so many postures. We cannot do that. We will most likely lying on our bed, maybe in the hospital or maybe at our home. So no matter where we are, so what position our body is, we can still do the meditation of breathing out, where we breathe in all the negativity and we breathe out all the positivity. And the final motivation or the final thought that we have when we are about to die is very important. That makes a great cause for our next life. So the effect of that is going to be very, very strong. So if we are able to do this practice, then definitely when we are doing this, so when we are breathing in all the negativity and when we are breathing out all the positivity, this is a practice of compassion, because we are giving away all our happiness, all our good health and everything. So this will create a very good cause for your next life. So even though we create lots of causes in our life, but the cause that we create when we are about to die, so that has a very strong power. So it is going to help us tremendously in our next life, where we are born, how we are born, and for everything after that. So it is very important. The way to do it is exactly the same, but it is going to have more benefit when we are able to do that.
咁所以咧，其實就係話，即使頭先我講過啦，去我哋臨終啦，最後一刻嘅時候咧，其實我哋都仍然可以修持呢個呼吸法㗎。但係點樣修咧？其實嗰個方法咧係冇可以話係冇所謂，冇所謂意思就係冇話一定要用咩方法去修，只係重點就係話要去頭先，正如頭先同樣講啦，就係你係將所有嘅別人嘅唔好嘅嘢，所有唔好嘅嘢就吸入自己啦。咁你係將自己所有嘅善妙啊，自己嘅呢一個健康啊等等啊，給予他人啦。因為點解咁講咧？就係當然有時可能你意外而死嘅時候，你更加唔會知自己係突然之間要死啦。但係就算唔係嘅，可能你係年紀大啦，或者你有病嘅時候咧，其實你嗰個狀況裏邊咧，可能你都好難咧，好似正如呢個教本裏邊會講，可能你要坐直啊等等咁樣去做各種姿勢嚟去修持㗎。咁可能你只係能夠可能身體好虛弱啦。只係可以喺病房或者係喺屋企裏邊瞓喺張床上邊。但係無論你身處喺邊度啦，係個身體姿勢係點都好啦，你都可以以呢個呼吸嘅方法啦，係吸入所有眾生嘅一啲任何嘅所有唔好嘅所有嘅惡業，而將自己所有嘅好嘅嘢，所有自己最好嘅財富啊、健康啊，給予所有人嘅。咁所以因此咧。當我哋臨死之前嘅最後嗰一念或者最後嗰個發心係非常之重要。點解咧？因為佢係會為我哋嘅來生種下咗個非常重要嘅因，亦影響㗎。咁所以因此，如果你臨終嘅時候，你帶住頭先嗰個念頭啦，就係將一切嘅唔好嘅嘢吸曬自己度，之後將一切所有最好嘅嘢，自己最好嘅嘢給予曬所有眾生。其實呢個本身就係一個悲心嘅修持啦。咁所以呢個咧。係會給予你一個非常好嘅一個因咧，係去進入下一生。就算你嗰一生裏邊可能做咗好多其他嘅因都好啊，唔好可能係唔好嘅因都好啊。但因為臨終呢一念咧，個影響係非常重大，所以你將來下一生一定係會有一個好好嘅來生。無論你喺邊度都好啊，喺邊度出世，用咩方式出世，都會係一個好重要嘅影響嘅，好大嘅影響。咁所以因此咧，喺臨終做呢個修持咧，個利益係特別大嘅。
好，禮拜 education day。
耶那唵，摩诃薩耶那瓦他耶。 千百坛，愿对千百度觉多乃来，三界长生八昧菩提。夜夜我在八顿灭八业，对我清洁加为健康的。大日天内这个就马达，给我清洁八马去吧。也会给人当天上多说的给大给马兰大巴的。就三界长生刚切给灭诸法清洁朗读是，耶亚达变杂吉亚瓦波达那耶娑哈，求度教完世界佛作业错来解业爱，大给的尊给萨巴困着从来却怕。教为根巴的有解的我心切困难痛，中国三界都就解给咱当解解的，大给有难明就解的灭大灭错错的，这灭灭两多别别三就能就。南些这个就马达的我先多给有钱，给你们看见的的拉三界，讲出多的就是多说的多，这话有是叫做他们吃给多来呀，这个老家吃多。大天这个给我这个保健这个就是啥的，这个就干嘛落着下，这个上我有点看着，每天大的写作业，天天做的那么做我有多难的。
Okay. And on behalf of all the Dharma brothers and friends of Thrangu Center, we would like to thank Choje Lama for today's teaching and guidance. Thank you very much. 好多謝今日咧，我哋法尊上師為我哋咧講座咧開始嘅，咁我哋俾啲熱烈掌聲佢啦。咁for the coming March of 10 to 12 would be our Medicine Buddha retreat. We should make the best of this practice opportunity to benefit ourselves and all the sentient beings. Thrangu Center, in order to inspire the liberate fellow students and sentient beings from suffering, and will host this 3-day Medicine Buddha retreat. In addition to dedicating all the merits to the early subsiding of the worldwide pandemic, which is causing extensive suffering in Nepal and India right now, the retreat will serve to help retreatant to accomplish the 12 aspiration vows of medicine Buddhists and practice the Bodhisattva way. This retreat and practice will bring immense blessing and protection, so everyone should join. 咁而家係一個12月啦，咁令功德咧用億萬倍嘅增長係個非常好嘅日子咧。咁助護中心嘅僧團咧 就等普渡有緣嘅弟子咧，喺3月10號到12號連續3日咧舉行呢個藥師佛嘅閉關，不但為咗世界各地遏止嘅疫情咧而祈求啦，亦都希望繼續幫助眾生咧實現藥師佛如來嘅12大願嘅，令弟子咧增福延壽啦。相好莊嚴啊，永遠脫貧，遠離痛苦災難，得病者得到良醫妙藥，家庭和睦，367得到健康五官嘅身體，令修持者咧衣食無憂嘅資糧具足。咁咧呢一個係有助我哋修行呢個菩薩行嘅。咁咧呢個閉關咧個個都應該參加，請踴躍參加啦。好啦，今日我哋就到咗呢度。咁咧其實我哋閉關喺3月10到12號，如果想參加先咧，可以係去報名啊，我哋要報名嘅。咁而且咧你係要完成整3日嘅閉關，唔可以淨係嚟1節咁樣嘅嚇。咁希望到時都見到大家。我哋3月10號見。Once more, thank you, Venerable Choje Lama. Thank you.
Yeah. 仲有
好重要嘅就係我哋嘅謝兆霖居士今日咧全程廣東話翻譯啦。Special thanks to our translator, Neil. Thank you very much. 咁嚟呢個3個咧，其實我哋仲有講過咧，我哋創出生對面嘅。創古文化嘅，亦都係由講者咧，亦都係我哋 Venerable Choje Lama 而 translate， 亦都係咧廖姐嘅。咁到時我哋再見 ，Good night。